Hi, I want to talk to us about a new bit of software we found called myviewboard Whiteboard, which we think should enable us to continue using the smartboard functionality but without having to pay for a license for them. So this is a free bit of software. I'm going to double click. Hopefully this will open up. My double clicking is not that great. And one of the first things it will ask us to do once it opens up is to sign in. Now we don't need to sign in. That's just to get to the extra features that you can pay for if you so wish. We don't feel at present that you'll need those, that software as it is under the free mode will meet all our needs. So here we go. So this is my viewboard whiteboard. It comes up here with a sign in. We'll just close that for a minute. And so the first thing we're going to talk to you about is just how easy it is to write. So down the bottom there, I've got my toolbar. I can move my toolbar to different parts of the screen depending on where I want it to be. You'll notice there are two toolbars. There's this one which has all our tools on, and there's this one which we can also move about anywhere we want to. And this will go through different modes. So we've got a paste option there, forwards and backwards. We can add pages, and this lets us know how many pages we've got altogether in our menu. So firstly, for the writing, if I click on the pen, it gives me the options of the thickness of the pen can be changed, just the colour can be changed. I've also got a paintbrush and a highlighter, a laser pointer, the shape pen, which as you can see, a bit like Smart Notebook, you can have different shapes and it'll just repeat them as a pen. The AI and the QR are available once you sign in. You have to pay extra. But let's go back to a simple pen and we can write. So I've written it quite big. I'm using my Surface Pro rather than an actual whiteboard, so you'll have to apologise. Sometimes it doesn't work. So this is a test. So we can write on the board. You'll notice that it smooths it out quite nicely for me. So there you go. We can write on the board. We can then make that a little bit smaller because that was a bit thick. Go back onto here. You have to excuse me, I keep pressing the wrong button on my pen. And these gaps you won't observe because, of course, this is to do with my Surface Pro and not using an interactive whiteboard. So that's straightforward for writing on it. Let's add a page. The next thing we can do is, of course, we can type stuff. So over here we've got the T. I place it on to the board somewhere, and I can, with this little option box, I've got all the standard things, and I can select any font that I've got installed on my machine. So, for example, at the moment, I put the Sassoon's Primary or Pen Pal. Oh, that one's joined, looks quite nice. So, all straightforward. One of the nice features of this as well is that if you do select your text, one of the things you can do is you can use this to
This is a
speak
test.
out the text. I think it came out of my earphone, so you can't hear it, but it will speak out the text just like on other things. We can do things like, if we select the text, we can make the text bigger, like the usual standard things. There we go. So typing is straightforward. Images. This is quite a nice feature on this because it's quite quick and easy to go to a web page. Here we go. I'm an ex-physics teacher, so I'm always going to look for atoms. Let's have a look at some images of atoms. I quite like this one. So we can right-click, copy, go to my software, and you'll notice down here I've got take myself off the font onto hand. Down here we've got a paste button. There we go, object pasted. I think I might have pressed it twice, so I might have got two. Yes, I did. I can delete one, straightforward. And that's a straightforward copy and paste. While we're on this, one of my favourite features that I like to see in interactive software for some reason is the fact that you can have different types of images and moving images. So I'm now going to search for GIFs of atoms. So here's a GIF of an atom with the electrons moving. If I copy the image, go back to here and paste by pressing that button, that's brought it as a stationary image. If I go back and we go back to here, drag the image, now it's a moving image. I just dragged it from the Google search onto my page. You'll notice that I'm using the scroll on my mouse to zoom in and out, which is quite straightforward. This hand option allows me to move about my screen to every direction I want to. So we've got images, we've got typing, we've got writing. I want to save it. So over here, this one here brings us to the file management system. If you hold a mouse over it, it'll tell you the options. You can open. We're going to save. So we'll just click that button and it'll bring up an option where we want to save it to. So I want to save it in there and I'm going to call it test. And that has now saved. Let's overwrite the previous one. We've now got ourselves that saved. The final thing I want to show you very quickly is how we can import smart notebooks into this. So what I'll do now is I'll go to here and I'm now going to start a new blank one. So I just click that for a new. There we go. It'll seem a bit slower on mine because remember I'm recording the screen at the moment. So what I want to do to access things like importing is go to this magic little box here. So that little cardboard box with things in it brings up lots of sub-menus. Now, very, very quickly, the first one is import, so you can find a file and import it. The second one is sticky note, so you can click on sticky note, and there you go. Sticky note goes there. You can write on here. Stick that on there. Click away from it, and now I've got that little sticky note that will stay there, change colours and anything I want it to do. Go back onto my magic box. The third icon allows me to access all these great tools. So you just click one, drag it over, and there we go. We've now got a 6-sided dice. We can change the settings. We've got all the usual things. I like the graph one because it puts a graph. You can plot points on it. I did quite like this option, which is just basically going to give you, let me just back onto my hand. If I bring that up there, this just lets you put a question, enter your question, insert images, and you can then have the answer as well. So it just makes a very simple flip charty little widget. Click on the magic box again. The fourth one allows me to input a camera. The YouTube one and these will require a sign-in, so they're extra, but we're not worried about them just yet. If I go back to the first option, which was the import option, and I search for files, so I know that in my downloads I've got some smart notebook files. So I'm just double clicking. So I've got a lesson. Let's go to this one, lesson 2. If I double click it, it will then start to import it. Now it's quite quick, process it quite quickly. Once it says I've read it all, it'll then allow us to choose which pages. So let's select them all, import landscape, and it's going to now put all those pages in. So if I now, there we go. I can close this once it's finished. If I now, there we go. One of the great things about this is it does import all the parts of my smart notebook file as separate objects that I can move about and edit like before. So that's a very, very quick introduction to this software. The only thing I haven't mentioned, and I will quickly do it now, is the fact that this middle button here, whoops, allows me to place a web browser in my page. So I can actually search for different things. Now this brings up to their recommended bookmarks, so the usual things that we use, and you can insert these into your interactive whiteboard as you wish. That's a little introduction to my viewboard whiteboard. Any questions? Make a list of them. I'll answer them when I see you again. Okay, thanks.